What's going on? Why are we so little? All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry, brain fart.
Now we're big.
Yeah, there we are. Hope everybody's having a great start of a new week, Tuesday. This is your host, Lee, and
Hey guys, I'm Patty.
All Things Creepy with Ghostly Travels. Tonight's guest, we have Tory Westhoff, the owner of Sleeper Mortuary. Look forward to chatting with her and hearing more about her location. So that's going to be a fun and exciting time. So guys, tonight, grab your beverage, grab your favorite chair, sit back and enjoy some creepy talk. We just got back from a wedding.
In Richmond, Virginia.
When we left Ohio, it was rainy and cold. We got to Richmond and it was 80, 85 and sunny every day. And then, of course, on our way back, it was crap. So, boo, Ohio.
I know. And now I swear I'm fighting a cold. I have been sneezing.
Yep.
So I started drinking emergency like one does.
Yep.
So please do not let me get a cold, which inevitably for me leads to a sinus infection, which makes for a crabby patty.
SpongeBob would say.
That's right.
All right. So we have some great guests lined up tonight. Tory. Next week, Brian Fuller. Week after that, April 22nd, we have Robin Terry and Ashley. April 29th, Paranormal Rockdown. May 6th, the OGs of Dayton. Can't wait to talk to those ladies. If you don't know who they are, you will on May 6th. May 13th, Joe Shirley, that Shortridge star. I put Shirley. I went to school with Joe Shirley. Sorry, Shortridge Joe. I did. Didn't I? Didn't I?
You did,
yeah.
But I think you were probably thinking about Dirty Shirley.
No, Joe Shirley, I went to school with. 222 podcast. We're going to have him on May 13th. May 20th, we're going to have Michelle and Brittany, mom and daughter. So definitely chime in. And guys, if you know anyone or if you are wanting to be a guest on our show, please shoot us a message. Let us know. Love to have you. All things creepy. It doesn't have to just be ghosts. It can be Bigfoot, Sasquatch. It can be aliens, UFOs, abductions, any really cool crime cases, anything. We would love to hear from you. Talk for a second, Patty. I need to go in here and grab this to share to my page.
Okay, yeah, I was just sharing as well. So, like Lee said, we were in Richmond this weekend, and the drive from where we live to Richmond took us straight through West Virginia, home of the infamous Mothman. And I gotta say, both times going through there, it was rainy, it was dismal. So we were on the lookout for that old man up on the bridge, but luckily we did not see him because, as we all know, that kind of portends bad luck or death. So,
But you know what? I was really looking for him. I was looking everywhere on the bridge because it's a he said bullshit stuff. So prove it. If you really see this thing, Mothman, and then you die, then Patty would collect life insurance.
And Patty would move far, far away from Ohio.
Coming up in a few minutes. Hello there. So we have a lot lined up this year. We're going strong. If you guys know, Patty and I was asked to form this team of people, individuals, paranormal investigators to start up this group called Entity Explorers. Patty made up the name. And we're going to be investigating a location each month. It'll be going on a YouTube, Amazon Prime for all of you viewers. During the process, I know I'll be doing live on Facebook and TikTok, so you guys can see section as well. This is going to be fun and exciting. Carlo, the Haunted Bill Manor up in Fremont, Ohio, he is part of this as well. It's going to be a fun and exciting time. So we have a lot like this, and we are at the museum at the Friends Home, the 19th of this month, the July 19th, and the September 20th. So definitely chime in with us. Come to those events. We would love to have you guys. All proceeds go to the museum. And so, yeah, we're having a good time. Are you guys ready? Let's just bring Tory in. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Here, how are you?
An extremely close up.
Yeah, like, there you go.
Like, what?
Yeah. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
We are doing well.
Awesome.
Can't complain. And if we did, who's going to listen?
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
What is it? It's Tuesday. See, I'm a night shifter, so all of my days run together. So, yeah. Good Lord have mercy. I'm like, whoa.
Set the camera in the other room.
I'm leaving.
Well, thanks for joining us, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We love to have, just like we were saying, we love to have all walks of paranormal, anything creepy, from event venues, places that, like you have, which we're going to dive into here soon. So like I shared earlier and I'll share now, we got more people coming in. If you know someone or if you're interested in being on the show, let us know. We love to talk about anything cool, creepy, you name it. So
L&M Paranormal, that's in the
yes,
chat.
great people, Mike and Leah. Yes.
Have they been on here before?
They have. They was with us.
They were early.
Yeah, they were December 17th.
Yeah. I love them guys.
Yeah, we haven't met them yet, but we look forward to it, and we've already it's clicked. So they're like, they're just family in the paranormal. So, and it's like that. We're at everybody we meet because we're all just trying to figure things out. And,
it's been a heck of a learning curve. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I bet it is. And you think you're wrong, but you're not. You may be right. We don't know if we're right or we're wrong. We're just trying and learning.
True enough.
Haven't Mike and Leah been helping you out or, doing some work around?
Came in on opening weekend. They helped me out so much. Poor Mike, he about died in the elevator shaft. That's a story.
That was the place. Okay. Yeah.
He kind of got guillotined with the elevator gate thing. Oh man, me and Leah was a mess that weekend, just watching that elevator shimmy up, and I'm like, man, when it started getting to the top, it was like, I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
And I know this is Mike. She almost killed me.
I know. That's what I was just going to
say. Overall, it was a good weekend. They were such a big help. Mike done a lot of man things for me. He and locks and he was a champ, honestly. He fixed wires and did Leah helped me hang curtains, and we swept and cleaned, and overall just the weekend went really good, and we pulled some really cool stuff out of there that weekend as far as evidence wise.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that's the thing, it's a place that has been sealed, right, for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you guys come in and you're doing some work in the building.
Well, it's been So it opened in 1886. Well, the original building was built in 1886 by Lyman Sleeper, and it was built directly next door to my building. The original building burnt down in January of 1915,
Okay.
and then my building replaces the original building, and it was built in 1920. And it ran as a funeral home all the way up until 1998. So that's when it closed its doors as a funeral home.
Oh wow! So it's
yeah. Lyman Sleeper died. He passed away in 1915.
We got a little delay here.
I didn't catch that. I don't know if it's my internet connection or yours, but like it just kind of goes in and out just a little bit. Not all the time. Actually, I think you're frozen.
Sorry, we get started. Yeah, see, look at the screen.
Yeah, my computer get out.
Yeah. So
there you go.
I think it's my internet. You know, it's this time of the night on a weekend. Or
yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's me too. I think it's that time of the evening on Tuesdays where everybody's on their internet, right?
Yeah.
They're chilling at home. They're just.
Yeah, I feel you.
So I made Patty. She just like turned hers off. She said,
she's right like,
"You make me." I
said, turn that off.
No.
I'm done with Tuesday.
This works.
Okay, well let me bring some of these up if I can.
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, for some reason, there it is. You're a gem. Your place is amazing. We got to come out. We got to check it out.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we will definitely get with you and schedule time. It looks cool. Let me bring it up for people. I got a picture here. I'm gonna share it.
Yeah, for sure.
So how did this come into your hands?
So I had been scouting for a place to call my own for approximately 5 years before I found this building. And I was just searching real estate one day and I saw it. And it was actually advertised as a residential home. The person I bought it from lived on the second floor. So I thought that it looked really reminiscent to something that we have local as far as a funeral home goes. So I searched the address in newspapers.com and lo and behold, it was a funeral home. So I called my realtor, which is Stephanie O'Reilly from McIntyre Villa, the owner of McIntyre Villa. She was my realtor on this whole deal. And she worked really hard for me. And we made it happen.
That is awesome.
We were in it, and I placed my offer based off of a disembodied voice I heard when we were looking at the property.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was telling you something, so you was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Well, like I walked into it, and Stephanie and I had looked at several properties before this one, and because she's a ghost hunter too, we would go into these properties and kind of like we did ghost hunt them to see what we could pull out of it. And one thing that I did learn is that there are ghosts everywhere. The houses, we would get EVPs and things like that, but nothing really just felt right. It didn't have that gotta have it feel for me. And when we went into this one, we heard, I call it a scream whisper. And it was like screaming, but like in a whispering tone.
That's creepy enough right there.
Yeah. And there was no discernible words. Like you couldn't tell what it was saying, but all four people present acknowledged it. The seller's realtor was also with us, and he said that he was going to go, like he basically went to see who the person was that was there because nobody else was supposed to be there but us. So he actively went and looked for the voice that we all heard, and it was all paranormal.
and then it was meant to be, right?
Yeah. So, and that's when the work started. That's when negotiations started. Excuse me. That's when negotiations started, and it was a very, very, very long process. It is a long process when you're doing commercial loans. So yeah, that's how it came to be.
Oh yeah, that's so cool. Now, how many people have been in to gather some really good stuff that is documented?
You mean as far as groups?
Yeah, yeah.
People have been
Or individuals.
they've been pulling a lot of stuff out of the building. There's not been, I'm trying to think of like specific instances that somebody pulled something that I could historically prove, and I don't really have that just yet. Um, as of now, I can prove 2,700 funerals in Lion states that happened in that building, and those are just the ones that I could find. There's probably more than that.
Wow, that's still a lot.
That is a lot. So there's a lot of names that come through, but people seem to be picking out like super cool EVPs. A lot of, I would say a majority of the ones that I have caught have, if you weren't present and you didn't know that nobody else was present, then you would think it was a human being because of the tone of the voice. I actually have a video on TikTok right now that is being like, it's been viewed like 40,000 times. I was kind of shocked, but that is one example of some of the EVPs that I pull out of there. And I had just set up an Oddfellows casket about 30 minutes prior to that, and you hear a female, like it sounds like she's singing, and then she says, "I love you." But it sounds like a human. Like that was none of us, but it sounds like somebody talking into the camera.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of vocal things, lots of disembodied voices. I've heard complete sentences in our flower room, and we did catch that on recorder. So yeah.
Well, we definitely got to go check it out. Like I was saying before, we actually just started with a group of people that we know to do something for Amazon Prime and YouTube. It's called Entity Explorers. And your place sounds like a perfect place to visit for next year, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to have you guys. It's been
that would be
a learning curve.
Just bet it has, being a paranormal investigator, a building owner. I'm sure, like, me, I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking, if it would be cool to own a place like that. But then, in the back of my head is like, okay, I'm hearing all these stories about activity that's being taken place in the building that I own. And then I got to go in sometime at night to maybe turn off the lights or something like that. Then it's like, that gets in the back of my head and I'm like, let's just run through here.
You know how you fix that? They just stay on.
Yeah.
They just stay on.
Just leave them on till tomorrow.
Yeah. I will say that it's not only been a learning curve for me, but it's been a learning curve for the ghosts there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They've never, as far as I know, it's never been investigated prior to my purchase in January of this year. So when I first went in there, it was a lot of vocal things like disembodied voices, EVPs. Equipment didn't really go off. I mean, every now and again, people would get hits, but for the most part, it was a lot of vocal things. And now I'm starting to see it shift to where there's less vocal things. It's still an abundance, but it's less than the beginning. And now we're starting to see equipment go off. They will not set off a REM pod for me. I don't know if they have a vendetta against me, but they just will not do it. They do it for everybody else, but they won't.
Everybody else, not you.
Right, right. So we're starting to see like a shift in like just the things that they're able to do. And I find that fascinating and interesting because it's almost like everybody's learning together and we're trying to learn how to cohabitate
Sure.
and coexist. So it's been an interesting journey. And a lot of I've since owning this building, it's raised a lot of like theories and questions in my head about other things that I didn't that I never really thought of before.
Whitney says it was a great place to check out. She loved their stay.
Thank
Yeah, I'm
you.
seeing a lot of comments like
Yeah,
that.
and I'm just going to pop some up here.
Yeah.
Liza, yeah, sorry. You will not be disappointed. I kept hearing people having conversations when the group was asleep.
Yeah, and I've heard that on the second floor as well. And it's weird. It's like the conversations that you're hearing, it's like you can't really pick out any like words. It reminds me of you know the cartoon Peanuts when the mom is talking, it's like
Yeah.
that's
Womp,
kind of
womp, womp, the teacher, yeah.
that's kind of what it sounds like. On the second
Yeah.
floor, I also heard a female numerous times up there. And so I'm not really shocked about the EVP capture on the security camera up there of the female singing. So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
And it's just beginning,
It is.
right?
And there's still so much to learn. There's still so much to learn, and there's so much to discover, and to a lot of puzzle pieces that still need to be put together. And everybody that comes through the doors, I just love how the groups that come through the doors, they then become part of the Sleeper Mortuary story. Like it began back in 1886 and then continues to present day. So everybody that comes through to see it or to investigate it or to talk about it, it's all part of the bigger story, and I just love that.
Have you had any like local people come in and share anything?
I have actually.
Good.
So here's it's kind of a long drawn out story, but you have to tell the beginning in order for the end to make sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So in the very beginning, one of the first groups in was Spooky Okie. She came down and she was with a couple of other groups on the first night that it opened for investigations. This was on January 12th, I believe. So they were up on the second floor and they kept hearing talking come from the elevator shaft. And the former owner, Dylan, we still contact each other. In fact, he still has keys to the building. He helps me out when I need it. And he's very interested in what's going on here. So he was coming up to grab some mail because I'm still like getting some of his mail and things. And he asked me how the night went for the group that was there. So I told him, I was like, it was weird. They were hearing talking coming from the elevator shaft. And he said, well, do you know that this used to be a college dorm? And I said, yes, I did. Because in the early 2000s, once it closed as a funeral home, it opened up as a co-ed style dorm for the local college students. And he said, well, do you know why it's not a college dorm anymore? And I said, no, I don't. I just knew that it was, and then it wasn't. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know the in between. And he said, well, one night, one of the college kids that was staying there, his friend said that he had a sudden change in demeanor, and he turned around and he ran towards the elevator shaft. The original story I heard, or what I got from it, and then like the clarified version, I'm not sure what happened in between there, but the clarified version is he tried to jump down the elevator shaft and his friends tackled him and wouldn't let him jump down the elevator shaft. And they described him as like he was throwing them off like rag dolls, like strength that he wouldn't normally have is what they were kind of describing it as. So then he ran down the hallway and down the spiral staircase, which would be across the building on the second floor, down the spiral staircase and ran out into the middle of the street, where his friends then tackled him again. I don't know what happened to him after that. But what he told me was that night, all of the college kids packed their stuff and they moved out. I can't prove that story. I have not found any articles or documentation that would give credit to that story. But what I can prove and what I can tell you is that it was only a college dorm for 3 months.
Oh.
Wow.
So I guess along with that story, these college kids, I guess, were reporting paranormal activity to whoever oversees that dorm. I don't know if they had like a what do they call them, like a room manager or whatever.
Yeah, like the floor manager, monitor, whatever they call them. Yeah.
So I don't know if they had one of those, but whoever would be equal to that, they were reporting paranormal activity. And from what I gathered, they weren't really taking them seriously, I guess. So later, the police were at the mortuary for other reasons. And as we were talking, I told the officer, I said, hey, if you and the other officers want to come through and look at the mortuary in the event that somebody has an emergency here, so you guys know the layout of the land, you guys are more than welcome to come in and walk around and kind of get a feel for it. Because upstairs I do have like the police department number posted in case anybody were to have like a medical emergency or anything like that. So he said no, he didn't need to do that because he had been there before. And I said, oh yeah? He goes, well, I don't really believe in the paranormal. He said, I've been an officer here for the city of Viola for like 25 years or more. I can't remember exactly how many, he said. And he said, yeah, he said, I've been up here quite a few times because when the college kids were up here, they would call 911 and we would have to come clear the building because they kept hearing crying and talking and they thought somebody was in the building. So he had answered 911 calls in that same building for some of the same claims that the former owner was telling me happened, which I mean, I know that they didn't know we were going to talk. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
It's kind of like two sources that kind of validate the same story in a way. It's the same but different, I guess. So I thought that was kind of a neat. I can't even remember where I was going with this. I'm not going to lie.
I asked if any locals had come in.
Yeah, it was the locals. Yeah.
I squirreled.
No, I do that every day, so it's all good.
But yeah, so I haven't had. I've had a few local people come and tour and kind of poke around and investigate, and they are very excited that it's there. And one of the specific things that they mentioned was that they were happy that we were bringing in out of town people to their town
to help businesses. I mean, we all, when we need food, we need energy drinks. That's my go-to when I'm investigating.
Yeah.
Energy drinks and gummy bears.
Yeah, and batteries because you forgot them at home on the couch.
Yeah, there you go. Need batteries and if they need pizza.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things that I offer at the mortuary is the ability to cook food. They're like the whole second floor. One of the things that I have had issue, I mean, I wouldn't say it was an issue, but it just makes people spend money they don't need to spend, is I've had people rent Airbnbs with their stay, thinking that they were going to have to, in order to be comfortable, they were going to have to sleep off-site, which is not the case for the mortuary.
Oh,
the
cool.
whole second floor is 5,000 square feet, and it is like walking into a home. It's as comfortable as walking into a home. It's all temperature controlled. There's 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, all of them work. There's a full kitchen with a full-size refrigerator, an oven, a stove. There's pots and pans in there. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like, yeah. So we hung out and we made food and all kinds of stuff the weekend that she was there. But it definitely is comfortable. So I just don't want people to spend unnecessary money that they don't have.
And that's great of you. You know, I'd go in there and make it smell like bacon. So
That's fine. I like bacon. The only thing that I don't offer is beds. I don't have beds in there. You'll have to bring your own air mattress.
yeah, or your little cot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't provide beds because I'm not there every day because I still have a full-time job. And so I'm not there every day. And I just don't think it's fair to people to not be able to sanitize the beds properly before another person uses them. So I just ask that people bring air mattresses and their own bedding.
And Liza said very well maintained and clean.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean,
No.
You know, we've been to a lot of places, and we have only stayed at a couple, and you know, I can count on less than one hand how many times I could sleep comfortably. You know, and it sounds as though you could be very comfortable here, temperature controlled, clean. You know, two of the major ticks for me. You know?
And I have a rule, so it's like, you know, I don't mind driving. If I'm in a car, I need to be behind the steering wheel regardless. But if it's under 3.5 hours, I'm driving home. I always do.
Yeah,
you know, I'm pumped up anyways through the night investigating.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'll be investigating and I'm like, oh my God, we got to do something or move because I'm going to lose it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's very comfortable, and I work pretty hard to make sure that it's the whole building is actually temperature controlled, not just the second floor. The chapel side currently is not temperature controlled because the unit is broken on that side, and it's just a matter of having somebody come out and look at it to fix it, to get that side up and going again. But as of now, the chapel is the only part, and the basement, of course, because nobody has their basement heat and air unless it's finished. But
it's cool regardless, right? It's always.
Yeah.
Plus, isn't the morgue in the basement?
No, it's actually not. It's on the first floor, just on the garage. It's the original embalming room. It is still intact. The whole first floor has kept its funeral home layout with the chapel. I do have a casket, a child's casket that's on display in the chapel that was original to the building. And I did actually find research that suggests that this casket is from the Spanish flu era, which would have been 1918 to 1920. So that was left in the property. And there's two possibilities with this casket. It was either a new purchase that never got sold, or it was what they call a loaner casket. So in the funeral homes, they offer loaner caskets for services, specifically in the cases where people are getting cremated.
Yeah.
That way the families aren't buying, $5,000-$10,000 coffins that they're then just going to burn up, because it's like, what are you going to do with it after? Like,
I know I don't have that kind of money to throw away, to burn.
Right. So they definitely they had loaner caskets. So it was just basically for the viewing services, and then the people were taken out, and then they were cremated after that. So I'm not sure which one it was, but I mean, it's pretty fragile because there was some flooding in the basement and it sustained some water damage, but it really is really cool to look at, in my opinion.
Always want to say, if the walls could talk, right?
Yep.
But that's why we're communicating with the spirits, so they're helping. And I know, like our friend Carlo with the Haunted Bill Manor. Do you do like put little logs in rooms so people can document certain things that they've experienced in the room?
I do. I have a whole book that it sits in the kitchen on the counter for people to write their experiences in during their stay or after or before they leave, whenever they choose. But yes, there is a book in there for people to write experiences. And then we also
I love looking at those.
Yeah. We also have a team wall down in the garage. That was Leah's idea, actually. She's like, I found your team wall, and it actually works perfect. So people that have team stickers are more than welcome to plop their sticker up there, or they can tape their business card on there if they like, or sign it in Sharpie if they want to. But
cool.
that's for the teams that come through, or it doesn't even have to be a team. It could be people. Just
If
people
somebody
that,
just wants to investigate a loan, which I would never investigate a
Yep.
loan. It's not me, but
So yeah,
I don't think I would have the balls to do that.
Actually, the
honest.
person that was in here, Mike Westhoff, that said hi, that is my dad, and he is actually staying there by himself tonight.
Oh, he's there tonight.
He's there tonight by himself. He wanted to have a paranormal experience, so he came down to
help you out, and then he can actually hang out there and see what he gets. Well, like the one lady says, when they were sleeping, she can hear him conversate.
Yeah. I've heard walking down on the second floor. I've heard walking down the hallway, because there's 2 living rooms in the building. There's what I call the small living room, and then a large living room. And there's a hallway in between those. And then the 5 bedrooms are spread throughout that hallway. And I heard heel to toe walking up and down that hallway basically every night that I've stayed the night there. And I'm not the only one that's reported it, actually. There's been I think Leah heard it too. I could be mistaken, though. I don't know if she can verify, but I'm pretty sure Leah heard it. Leah and Mike did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's
love. Yeah.
And it's hard to talk about activity, because it's like there's so much of it. It just doesn't seem real. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. It's like too good to be true, right?
Like if I were listening to me tell myself about Sleeper Mortuary, I'd be like, I don't know. That seems like a lot. Well, you know what I mean? But it's part of me wonders, like it just seems like so much that it's not real. But it really is pretty cool to see some of the stuff that's coming out of there.
That your place sounds like a perfect place. When we investigate, especially when we do public events, I always tell people, some people that come, they've been to multiple little events, or they've rented out a location, and they said, we've never had our experience. And I was like, well, we call those oh shit experiences. And that sounds like a perfect place for one.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that I haven't come across anything bad, or what I thought was bad, or everything seems pretty peaceful for the most part. I have yet to come across anything that's scary, as in like darker.
Like you got to leave. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't come across anything like that. Not yet anyway. But it is scary in the fact that you're not expecting it, and it kind of jump scares you, especially when it's disembodied voices, because it's like it's like right in your ear. It's like they're getting up in your ear hole and talking. And it's then
it's like, ooh.
Yeah, you're like you're violating my bubble.
Yeah, you're in my personal space. You just give me goosebumps.
Yep.
It's like if you had breath,
make sure you heard them.
Exactly. And Teresa says very friendly spirits. See, and because you always wonder, like, it's a funeral home. That's what it was. That's what it was intended when it was built. That's what it was for. So, just think of the lost love, that's lost, that they come back, because they're there for a few days after they had passed. So I don't know how heaven works. I don't know, a few days prior to that, the person had passed away. They know where their body is. Do they come back to where their body is? Do they stay into that location because they saw their family there and they're like, well, one day they're going to come back.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I'm speaking for myself. I don't know how I don't know how none of that works.
I agree. And
So it's
for everything,
it's
everything that I've seen, like nobody goes to, or a vast majority, other than the people that work there, people don't go to a mortuary or a funeral home in a good mood. There is, I mean, obviously you're going there for reasons, and nobody's happy, but overall, I feel like it's pretty freaking peaceful for the amount of pain that building has seen. I mean, it's amazing to me that it's not like super sad and dismal. It's very, for the most part, positive, in my opinion.
yeah. And the thing is, hello, Jessica. And we all have to face it, right? We came in this world alone. We're going to leave this world alone.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know when it's our turn. But by God, while I'm here, I'm going to have a good time. And I tell you, and now since you're in my bubble now, I'm going to come and haunt everybody I know. I'm going to come and say, hey, some way, somehow.
Do it. Yeah.
I'm going to visit there.
Do it. Give somebody their first shard at the mortuary, please.
There you go.
He is noisy enough now.
Oh, yes.
I cannot even imagine.
Well, here's what I tell everybody. I'm going to come and depants you in the middle of a group of people. I'm going to have fun.
I'm going to need you to be the ghost that farts in people's faces. Like,
and I can do that. That is no problem.
And then they're going to blame it on the people that they're with. They'll be like, yo, did you fart in my face?
Exactly. Our good friend Bob. Hey, Bob, it's a place where a lot of emotional energy would be given off by the living. And it is because, we're there for one reason. We lost a loved one. We've lost a friend, a family member. Or, some people don't have families and they don't have friends. But when their obituary's in the newspaper or article or wherever you read it, my mom tells me all the time, I just saw an article of this lady that just passed away. She has no family. Mm-hmm. So, the community comes to show love and support, to be there. Mm-hmm. What else do you do? I mean,
and I do know that, and I've seen the newspaper articles that there were people who passed away that were poor, like back in the earlier days.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to think they were through the Depression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like in the newspapers, for example, when the county pays certain funeral homes to deal with burying the people that have passed away that were considered paupers and poor people, so that it becomes the county's responsibility to bury these people or whatever they do with them. I don't think cremation was a huge thing back in the early 1900s.
No.
Imagine it was. I think cremation came about later, but I could be completely wrong because I haven't specifically looked it up. But Sleeper Mortuary was one of those funeral homes that dealt with pauper people, and they would hold these bodies and they would bury them. And I did see several instances where, like on the county minutes or whatever, like on the commission meetings that they publish, Sleeper Mortuary was paid for a pauper burial. So, and those aren't even counted in the 2,700 that I have, because I can't prove that one of the obituaries that I had seen wasn't that person that they were talking about. But I'm just, from all of the research that I've done with all of my books, I'm fairly certain that those are other individual people that never had a death announcement in the paper.
I know within 5 minutes from here, for the county we live in, Butler County here in Ohio, mm-hmm. there is a cemetery, which is on the other side of Route 4 where Mom lives. Mm-hmm. It's in a little, like, the wind of this little side road. And it's for those people that didn't have money. They were poor. Yep. And there's a few tombstones, but a lot of is just like a square brick with a number.
Yeah, so it was like a county home, probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the county homes, like the county poor farms, those had the county poor farms were typically 150 to 200 acres, and they had their own cemetery. They were made to be self-sustaining, because if they were self-sustaining, then the county didn't have to pay as much in order to
Oh,
maintain it. So they raised their own pigs and their own cows, and they had fruit trees and they had crops, and the able-bodied would work on these farms and harvest all of this stuff, and whatever they didn't consume, they sold in order to help bring money in, because all of those people on the poor farms, the county was responsible for, because they couldn't, or they were not able to live on their own for whatever reason, whether they were sick, they were old. They sent people out that had different things that we wouldn't really consider a bad thing today, like Down syndrome, or they were blind or deaf. They would go out to the county home.
Just like Bob says there, is there a local IOF lodge or cemetery near there?
Oh,
they took care of many burials for those families that couldn't.
I don't know if there is. I think so. And the only reason why I say that is because I know Garnett House has an Oddfellows casket and skeleton inside of their building. And I believe it was a local casket and skeleton. And so I'm assuming that there was an Oddfellows lodge somewhere local to me, because Garnett House is only like 45 minutes from me to the north.
She said just like Randolph County Infirmary.
Yep. I actually wrote a book on Randolph County Infirmary.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And what's it called?
It's called We Are Randolph County Infirmary.
We Are Randolph County Infirmary.
Mm-hmm. I do basically a deep dive into paranormal properties, and I basically make a handcrafted book designed for paranormal investigators. So I find every documented death on property that I can find, and I put it in alphabetical order by first name, because typically whenever you get names on devices, it's typically a first name. So each person has a page, and each page has basically everything that I can find on that person: death certificates, death announcements, obituaries, their find a grave information. Every single person that I've done, if they don't have a find a grave, I create one for them, and I upload all of that information to their find a graves in the event that they have family that's looking for them, so that they have access to that information.
Well, you do a lot.
I do.
That is a lot.
I put it in alphabetical order by first name. I have an interesting news section, and that's basically news articles that has anything to do with the property. And then I have indexes in the back that put it in alphabetical order by last name, date of death, and year of death. Because
Bob works with Stop Properties, and we were there on Christmas Eve. I was with Bob and Sean Austin and Bob's wife Denise, and they gave us like a list like that of names. Was that yours? Probably.
I don't know.
Because we were, we took it with us walking around just to see if like spirit boxes or anything would come through on audio.
Actually, I have a book. If you wait a second, I'll go grab it.
Yeah.
What it looks like, because
sure.
I have I just ordered We Are Malvern Manor. Give me one hot second.
No, you're fine. Lady's full of knowledge, guys. That's a lot of work, to be honest.
I know.
I mean, because Bob, the list over at Randolph that we saw. Gee whiz. And Whitney goes, first crematory in Kansas was Wichita in 1950. Wow.
Okay.
That's very late.
That's late. So like Whitney says, the first crematory in Kansas was Wichita in 1958.
That's interesting. See, because I never specifically looked it up, so I wasn't really sure. And I definitely didn't want to misspeak.
Look at all these nerds, these ghost nerds. I love them all.
I'm a nerd through and through. 100%.
I am too. I'm going to be 100% honest, and I'm proud of it.
So these are what my books look like. This is We Are Malvern Manor.
Oh, cool.
All of my books have a cover where you can't see the person's face because
Okay.
I want everybody to look at it as a unit. Kind of like a weird, quirky thing on my part. A lot of the people in Malvern Manor did not have death certificates because
Oh, bless their heart.
it's because the state of Iowa doesn't release death certificates unless they've been gone for 75 years.
Oh,
So that started at the time it was like 1960, and it opened as a nursing home in 1955. So I didn't have access to their death certificates, but I put everything that I can in there.
Wow.
And then their name is always on the right-hand corner, so that you can flip through it easily when you're looking for a name. It's always going to appear on the lower right-hand corner.
How can we get a hold of these things?
Just message me. Most of them are available on Amazon, but
Okay.
I can get you a cheaper deal through me, and it comes spiral bound through me.
Yeah, I love that.
This is right up
Yeah.
Patty's alley.
I am a total book person.
She's a total book nerd.
And I was waiting for a time to interject and say I love how it's bound on
Yeah.
a spiral.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal job. How long did that actually take you for just that one there?
Each book took me about 6 to 12 months of research. And then sometimes I put it together as I'm doing it. Other times I wait till I have all of it. I'm typically working on a couple of books at a time because I get burnt out on one location. But yeah, Randolph County Infirmary, I found, I think it was like 600 that I could prove that took place on property. That's probably not even the lion's share, but I never put a name in a book unless I can 100% prove that it happened on.
Sure. And Bob just came up with your next step. The list, like at Randolph County, would be cool if you could download it to a phone. Then searching the list would be easier in the dark.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then more detailed than that was more detailed than what we had on Christmas Eve, because we just had like this big list of names.
Yeah.
And then look, Whitney's like, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I just threw out 2 titles. I'm not sure what else you've got, but
yeah, she put out We Are Malvern Manor, We Are Randolph County Infirmary.
I have Edinburgh Manor. I have We Are Malvern Manor News. We Are Randolph County Infirmary, the children's portion. I have Asylum 49, the children's portion. Asylum 49 Part 1, and I have 4 more books coming for Asylum 49 because there was like 1,200 deaths in that building.
hey.
And then I have McIntyre Villa.
Wow, that's a lot. And you said like the one 600, so that's a lot of time.
It is.
And you said, now hold on, and you said you work a full-time job.
I do. Well, I have 2 full-time jobs if you can include the mortuary.
And then I was going to say on top of that, the mortuary.
Yeah,
wow.
And then a PRN nursing job, and I'm a single mom.
See? And
Louise.
All Paranormal, there you go. Reach out to Tory and get you some of these books, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I do, I will say that I love it. This stuff is not work to me. This is a hobby. This is recreation.
It's something you enjoy.
It is very much
because
so.
I think like each person, it pulls different strings, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if it's a child to a woman and then to a man, and you find out information, I would be crying if I did it, honest, because being an empath, I would feel so emotional to each one of them.
I think one of the coolest things is finding historical documentation on a resident spirit that resides in a specific location. That is cool. When you have, thank you, Holly.
Holly's sweet. We love her.
I love her too. Whenever we have, excuse me, for example, I'm trying to think of like at Malvern Manor, for example, you have Gracie and you have Susie and Rebecca. If you can find documentation on those people, which I have not been able to find yet, and I'm still looking, I'm going to find it eventually. Whenever you can find documentation on spirits like that are residential to the haunt, then that's just, it's super cool.
Yeah, because that's what we need. You know, is we need this. If you go into one of those locations, you may get an audio clip and you just like, yeah, it's cool, and you shared it with the group. But did you do your research to see if that person really exists?
Right.
Because that person was actually the coolest thing and the saddest thing is that person was reaching out to you at that night of your investigation.
Yep.
And just to walk away from that, we need more of you on every location.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah, seriously.
I do enjoy it. Like I have a list of things that I want to accomplish before I become a ghost. And writing a book was one of those. Owning a location was one of those. And my other one is doing a documentary film. That is my other one. Will I ever get it done? I don't know. Probably not. I don't really have the know-how, but I'm willing to learn. I love Beth. She's amazing.
Hello, Beth. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Her and her crew came
look at all these awesome people in here.
Yeah. And they have Beth and Nathan and Kara. They all came and stayed for 3 days, and they did they're doing a series on YouTube under Weathers Production, and they released part 1, I believe. I think we're waiting on part 2. Hi, Terry. She also spent time at the mortuary as well, and she had a pretty good time. They had some really cool lives.
Oh, cool.
And like, if people go live when they're at the mortuary, I will 9 times out of 10 join in their live and watch it. And
for having just been open for months.
Oh, I think you froze.
Sorry.
There we go. You're back. You're back.
Yeah, we're good now. I think it just pops up every now and then. We're talking about ghosts. Yeah, we're talking about ghosts, so it's like somebody's trying to chime in. What would you say, Pat?
I was saying, for having only been open for a few months, you have had a ton of traffic.
I really have, and I'm honestly, I was really nervous because I wasn't sure anybody would want to go. When I started this whole business venture, I really gaslit myself into thinking that, what if I'm buying a building that's not haunted? Then nobody's going to want to come, and nobody's going to, want to share it with me or anything like that. And I really gaslit myself. And I have had so much love and support, and just people like reaching out and wanting to stay, and all of the things that they share and interact with me. And it's just been such a good experience. And I honestly, I couldn't have asked for it to go down a better way. Like, it's just been incredible at the amount of support that I've gotten from everyone.
And that's the thing. The paranormal community, when it comes to locations, the community can have egos, or they can have, well, I wasn't there. Your evidence is no good to me. It makes that other person feel bad. But when it comes to a location and they need help, this community unites as one. They let those egos go. I have noticed this in the 30 years I've been in the paranormal. So when they put that, they focus on what is at hand.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. It's in every state. People travel, you hear about certain locations, but people always are connecting to help each other.
Yeah. And Holly.
And we need more of that.
Holly in the chat, she said, I told you it was successful. She was my sounding board for a lot of like the anxiety I was feeling about it. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is going to work out. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it is scary because I'll tell you, it's just like a individual, like any individual. It doesn't even have to be a single mom. It's like you're putting all of your eggs in one basket, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying because if it fails, then you are so screwed. like, like I mean, there's a lot at stake, and it's hard to take that leap of faith. And fortunately for me, it worked out, and I love that people are enjoying it. I I love sharing it, and I love talking about it, and I love educating. I have a lot of pieces in the mortuary that um, I try to make it as educational as I can on death and dying and memorialization of people. Like back in the day, I have a Victorian mourning wreath in there for people to look at. I
Oh,
just
those are so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And I just acquired a mid to late 1800 Oddfellows casket that held a 14-year-old American Indian female in there. And I have that on display.
That's got to have some energy on it.
It does. It does. It came with an energetic punch I was not expecting.
I bet.
But it's cool. Like you're likely never going to see that anywhere other than
No,
Garnet
not
House.
something like that. No.
I mean, I like being able to give people things to look at and to touch and to investigate and be a part of that you just don't get to see very often. Because I mean, in my opinion, and this is just the way that I choose to do it, I'm not saying anybody that chooses to do it different is wrong. This is just my way. I just want to make it as fun, as accommodating, as educational, and just fun as it possibly can be. And
Yep.
so I choose to add things that are weird and people don't get to see them very often, for sure.
And to weird to some is not weird to me, but
And still relevant to your building.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's about is, you know, you want, like you're taking something like what you purchased.
Yeah. Yeah. And, sometimes,
You're putting your twist on it. You're sharing
yeah.
it with the world.
Yeah. I'm sitting here trying to read some of these. Yeah.
What did Whitney say here? Yeah, here you go. Our history is important, and more so one's personal history is important and means something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like with the Oddfellows casket.
Because we're the one keeping their
Yeah. Like with the Oddfellows casket, I will never understand the mentality back then. I had like when I was doing research into the casket, and I'm trying to find the girl that occupied that casket, the 14-year-old American Indian female that was in that casket. And some of the research suggested that American Indian people were not.
That would be cool if you could.
Yeah, I hope I can. But they were not looked at as people with value. And it's unfortunate. Like I will never understand that mentality. But if it had to happen, I at least want to honor her story and honor, how this all came to be and protect, a piece of
Absolutely
property that she spent a majority of her death in. Like I don't know how she got in the casket. I don't know how long she was in the casket. But I do know in my opinion and my personal belief that the casket is important and the story is important. And if I can find her, I will definitely tell her story because she deserves for it to be told. And that's just who I am as a person with anyone.
Keep us in the loop if you find
I will. And
her.
anytime that I've talked about the casket.
Yeah, like Whitney said, that's so respectful.
I will give anybody any of the information that they want to know. And if they can find her, I will give you credit, like inside the mortuary, on the plaque, on whatever I have done. If you find it, I will definitely give you credit. because I mean, it may end up being.
There you go, guys. So that's your homework tonight, is to help her find this girl.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, look for those college kids too, because I'd love to hear some of their stories.
Yeah, that'd be fun too. To hear some of the college kids, because there's only 3 months, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Well, Tory, we really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely. We'll have to have you back on.
I'd love it.
And hopefully the next time we'll have some stronger service.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It happens.
But so how can people find you to book a night at your location?
I have a website. It's www.sleepermortuary.weebly.com. And if you hit the calendar tab, it pulls up my Google Calendar and you can see what dates are open and which days are taken. On there, there's also a form that you can fill out if you want to do an overnight. It basically asks you what day that you want, how many people, phone number and email. And then once I get the email, I will email you back and put your date and give you a link to a document that will tell you basically general information and payment instructions. And then we basically go from there. And then you can find me on Facebook under Sleeper Mortuary. I have a YouTube channel. If you type the @ Sleeper Mortuary in the search bar on YouTube, it will pull my account up. And I do go in and run live streams on YouTube when the building is empty. I'll set up equipment and let it run all night long when it's empty, so people can participate in that. And then I have TikTok, and it's under Haunted Sleeper Mortuary. And I do live streams on there too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, definitely, everybody listening, definitely go visit. Sign up. We're going to. We definitely want to come out and check it out. We definitely want to see these books for sure, because that was right up Patty's alley. And I love that stuff, because when you're investigating and you get that name, it's like, well, wait, we are, because a lot of times we got to remember that name. Well, if we have it there,
signed for, and there's enough room in them that you can write in them. They're made to write in. They're made to mark up, and then they're designed to prompt questions, because you have their whole obituary. So if you get, I don't know, like Stacy, and there's only one Stacy, and you're like, oh, she married Phil in 1985 and they had 6 kids, Bob, Sue, Joanne, and whoever. She liked to ski and sing Christmas carols. You have access to all of that information, and it gives you an opportunity to have dialogue and establish a rapport with somebody that you've never met before. And that's the whole point, to see if you can elicit responses that would complement the information that's in front of you as well.
Absolutely. I totally agree, because you always, when you investigate, we always want to talk, but a lot of times we want to talk about the dark stuff that happened to the person, instead of we know you like to ski. We know you were married. We know you had children. Stuff that they're going to love to talk, and they're going to communicate with you if you do that.
Yeah. And I think so.
But thanks again so much for joining us tonight. We really had a great time.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for having me on.
So we appreciate you coming on again.
I can't wait to see you guys.
And anytime. Absolutely. We'll definitely schedule a time to come out and see you. And because we like road trips. So we're in Ohio, so it's not too far away.
You're probably 12-ish. But if you were to
but
fly,
thanks again.
This airport. It's only an hour and a half.
There we go. Blinking out the ghost.
Yeah.
Well, you have a wonderful night, and everybody's for joining us. We appreciate it. And take care. Tory, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Uh-huh.